Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Bros Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So we got a pretty interesting one today. So I came across a sit down that Cam Newton had with Shannon Sharpe. And during their sit down, they talked about a whole bunch of things, dating and all of those different things. But then they got to a particular point where they were talking about Shannon Sharpe's departure from Undisputed and the fallout that he had with Skip Bayless. At the time, all of us covered that story extensively. We all kind of gave our 2 cents on the situation. But we really haven't heard Shannon Sharpe talk on it as much as he has other topics. So during their conversation, Cam Newton essentially asked Shannon Sharpe to basically go through what it was like, leaving Undisputed and, that infamous exchange that he had with Skip Bayless on television, where Skip told him to put his glasses back on. If you remember, they were arguing about Tom Brady and all of that. And then Skip Bayless kind of took a below the belt shot at Shannon Sharpe. And then, and then from there, we're just pretty much downhill. Of course, they had the Damar Hamlin situation there. So when it came time for Shannon to respond, I actually thought that he took a very mature approach to his answer. And I think that some people out there probably would have wished he would have taken it in a different direction. But I definitely like the direction that Shannon Sharpe took it in terms of his answer, responding to the question that Cam Newton posed to him. So those really are the comments that we want to anchor in on today. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Shannon Sharpe had to say to Cam Newton when he was asked about the fallout between himself and Skip Bayless. I'm going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to that there.
The situation with Skip, right? Mm-hmm. Was the frustration with Skip, or was the frustration with the network or the executives?
I think for me, I really appreciate Skip believing in me and bringing me there. Even when the network wanted him to hire a journalist, because I was really the first athlete to sit down and sit across from a journalist and debate topics.
Right.
People know that you can talk about football because obviously you played the game. Can he talk about basketball?
Right.
Can he talk about golf? Can he talk about baseball? Can he talk about social issues if they were to arise? So Skip believed that I could, and the opportunity presented itself, and I took full advantage of it. Maybe it was a combination of things. Maybe there's some things I could have done differently. Maybe I should have just had a conversation with Skip that before it even got to that point, maybe said something differently, but I don't know. It's really hard to say. I just think that that after 7 years and you with somebody, and this is what I tell people about relationships, it's easier to grow apart than grow together. Mm. And maybe that was the 7 year, you have 17-year locusts that they come once every 17 years. Well, maybe this was a 7 years, this was all I was supposed to get out of that. Maybe this was the bridge that I was supposed to travel on for 7 years. And then after that, that bridge was gonna collapse and it was gonna force me to go do something else.
But even then, was that the straw that broke the camel back?
See, if somebody else had said what Skip said, I wouldn't have batted an eye. But we're supposed to be teammates.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what hurt me more than anything. My teammate, that's what he thought of me. It's kind of like when somebody else says something like, nothing gets you more upset than when your boys hit you.
Or somebody who really, you said 4 names. I know one of them was Sterling Sharpe.
Yeah, like my homeboy, and I know, like, we and my homeboys, we joke a lot, but I know where not to go.
It's to a degree.
Yes, you can joke, but let's not go there. Let's not play in that area.
Right.
And so I was like, and at that point in time, Now here's the guy that I had stood up for Skip. When guys come on and try to take shots at Skip, I was there. I stood up. Nah, bro, this is not your show. This Skip and Shannon. This ain't you. You're not going to take no shots. We're not going to do that, so forth and so on. And in that moment, to think that because I said Tom Brady wasn't playing well, and he wasn't playing well. And I think that's one of the things that most people like about me, because I don't have a problem. If a guy's not playing well, Cam, he's just not playing well.
And it happens.
Yes, and this is not to take away anything what that person has already accomplished. But we're talking about now. We're not talking about, we'll evaluate his career once it's over, but we're talking about in the moment, and he wasn't playing well. So I was just disappointed how it handled. I thought it could have been could have been handled better by management, but it was handled the way it was handled. I thank Fox for the opportunity. And the only thing that I get upset about, you know what I hear people say, Skip gave you, Skip made you. Now, had I not made it, what would y'all have said? They wouldn't have said Skip was the reason why I failed. So in other words, when I'm successful, you give him all the credit and give me none of it. So if I'd have failed, you'd have gave me all the blame and gave him none of it. So the thing, I guess Jay-Z coined the line, if he made me,
make another me.
Yeah.
So you heard what Shannon Sharpe's response was. Look, I actually liked and appreciated what Shannon Sharpe had to say. Now, I remember at the time when they had that exchange, people were pretty upset with Shannon Sharpe. I mean, with Skip Bayless in that moment. But then I also remember the time when Shannon Sharpe had that altercation, between himself and the Memphis Grizzlies players and John Morant's father. You guys remember the entire thing there, that they kind of had that back and forth. And I remember people at the time saying, why didn't you have this energy for Skip Bayless? As if to say, why didn't you go at Skip that way? I think we can all agree that if Shannon Sharpe reacted to Skip Bayless the way he conducted himself on that Laker court, it would have been a net negative for Shannon. I think if Shannon had done that, he would have never been able to get a job on television ever again. That would have been the end of it, because he wanted to respond to Skip disrespecting him in that moment. I think if Shannon had responded to Skip the way he did with the Memphis Grizzlies players, I think it would have done more damage to Shannon Sharpe than anybody else. Now, maybe some people in the public would have loved it. Yeah, Shannon stood up to Skip Bayless. He stood up to him. He didn't back down from him. But that's a short-sighted way to look at things. Because in the short term, yeah, Shannon would win. He defended himself. But in the long term, he loses. Because Shannon will never get a job on television. And Skip would have turned into the sympathy figure. Because although Skip Bayless took the below-the-belt shot, if Shannon Sharpe reacted to him with aggression, well, let's be for real. What points you going to get for getting aggressive with Skip Bayless? Shannon Sharpe is 6'2". God knows how many pounds he weighs. He's a very strong guy. Who you gonna feel good? We're supposed to be feeling good about that he came at Skip Bayless. Look how that's what we're supposed to be doing here. No, so you don't get any points for that. I liked his answer because he kept it real. Although some of us didn't like the way Skip treated Shannon in those moments, the fact is Shannon would not have had that job if Skip Bayless didn't vouch for him. That's the reality. And I like the fact that Shannon Sharpe kept it real. Now, has he gone on to do bigger and better things? Yes. But no one here with any sense is going to say that his time on Undisputed didn't propel him to where he is. I mean, that's a flat out lie, and we all know it. Because before that, we weren't talking about Shannon Sharpe the same way. Let's keep it funky. We were not. So I like his answer. I also liked his approach in that moment. And he also heard that a lot of sponsors came up to him and said, we really appreciate the way you responded. It was the mature thing to do. I remember when Will Smith went up on that stage and assaulted Chris Rock, because that's what it was. He assaulted him on live television, and people were like, Chris, no, not people. Some people were like, I'd have responded and this and this and this and this and that. And we understand that it's human nature to respond. But what Chris Rock displayed was something stronger than strength. What he displayed was restraint. And it takes a lot of emotional control to be able to gather your emotions in that moment and not react. Now, he may come off looking soft to the average man, but I doubt most people, I think 99% of men put in that situation would have failed. And what would have happened was they would have reacted to Chris Rock, and it would have turned out to be an entire brawl on television. And that would have been a national, that would have been a disgrace of epic. Imagine Chris Rock and Will Smith exchanging blows on the Oscar stage. So by Chris Rock refusing to respond with force, he was able to actually reduce the damage that would have been done had he responded physically to it. Because at that particular point, the headline would have been Chris Rock and Will Smith get into a fight on the Oscar. Just imagine a headline. So that's not smart, right? That's not smart. I'll leave with this quick story. Anthony Joshua is supposed to be fighting. I don't follow boxing, but I do know Anthony Joshua. And I know he's supposed to be fighting a fighter that I believe is younger than him. I don't know who the fighter's name is, right? I don't know who his name is. But he's supposed to be fighting a younger guy. And apparently what happened was they had a sit down on, was it HBO or something like that? I forgot why I saw the clip. And they were, the guy's name is Daniel Du Bois. I hope I pronounced his name right. And they're talking. Now, this is Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua could knock out the best of the best, right? Certainly beat up an average person. And they're kind of going back and forth. And Anthony Joshua's talking to him like, relax, bro. Relax, bro. Relax. Relax. Ultimately, he loses his cool. He was like, I'm gonna handle you right now. But what surprised me was the following. Here's Anthony Joshua, who's probably a better fighter than everybody watching this show right now. And if it was an average person, well, what would they have been doing? Yo, I'm gonna F you up. Yo, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna make you up. I'm gonna mess you up. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna mess you up. When in reality, in most of those cases, those fights can go either way if both parties aren't intimidated. And what I was surprised was his restraint and how calm he was, even though he was angry. And I was like, man, that's something to learn from. So to me, look, I think Shannon Sharpe came out of that situation looking the best. And I think it's one of the reasons he's doing so well today. So these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show. Peace.